Okay, hello again. This is John Ballantrae, and this video as usual is going to be about how to read tarot cards. But first, I needed to mention Photoshop and life, and then we'll get to the point of the video, which is, what do you do if somebody wants a reading but they don't have any particular question, right? But they still want to know what the tarot has to indicate. So I'm going to tell you one solution to that kind of problem. So Photoshop. Let's say you're good at Photoshop and you know a lot. Okay, so for somebody to tell you something useful, they probably need to tell you something complicated or complex. Maybe it involves filters and levels and I don't know what else is in Photoshop. So sometimes an answer or useful information is complex and complicated. But if you're just beginning with Photoshop, little things can mean an awful lot, right? So somebody maybe you're playing with colour, and then somebody tells you that you can actually separate the colour into the red layer, the blue layer and the green layer, and you can work in each one of those layers independently and individually and separately. So something small and simple can make a big difference to how you work with Photoshop and how you expect to progress. Okay, so that's Photoshop. Think about life. Sometimes things happen, or you hear something, or you understand something, and it's as if light bulbs go off in your head, and it's a great moment, and it's a big deal, you know that life is never going to be the same again. That can happen sometimes when you get a major piece of information, a major transformation. But at other times, somebody can say something simple and small, and it can make a big difference. So that maybe you understand something, or you're able to make connections that you haven't been able to make before. So you end up better off, and you know that you're going to make better decisions in the future, or whatever it happens to be. So with life, what you understand or what you get can be big and huge and mind-blowing, or it can be tiny and small, but yet also be very important. And this has to do with tarot reading, because sometimes we think that if we're going to do a good reading, we have to tell the person something they never knew, right? Or something that was just completely different and mind-blowing and, spectacular. And if we can do that, then we've done a good reading. But if you can say, I think it's important to keep it simple and understand that we can say something small and it appears to be obvious, but it can be very helpful to the questioner and very useful. And I'll give an example now. Let's say somebody wants a reading, but they don't know what to ask about. So what do you do? And I'm suggesting you shuffle, pick 3 cards, one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future. Right? And let them face down to begin with. You don't want to see all 3 at the same time, because that's too much. You get confused. You won't know what to say. You're better to take it 1 card at a time and be systematic in your reading. So if you go to the-tarot-blog.com, there's going to be a link on the right hand side where you can download a PDF that will give you some written explanation or description of doing a past, present and future type of reading, a way of looking at it anyway. So that's something that you can look at after this video. So you've got 3 cards, right? You turn the first one, and that's the past. So you know that it's talking about or describing something in the past, something that has happened, right? Or something that didn't happen. Maybe that's the point. If the card is reversed, it should have happened, but it didn't. So if it's a court card, it can represent somebody the questioner already knows, right, because it's the past. Or maybe the court card describes the questioner, and that's what the person was like in the past, with the good points and bad points, the strengths and weaknesses of that particular court card. So you turn that card and you talk about what it shows. And it may be pointing to something important or major that happened in the questioner's life, but it could also be a simple little thing that maybe they'd forgotten or maybe they'd been thinking about. It doesn't have to be major and huge. So we know something about the past. Then you turn the card in the middle and you now know about the present position, the present situation. And sometimes the card in the past develops into the card for the present. But let's say we've got a card of happiness in the past. It could be the Two of Cups, the Sun card, the Lovers, the Ten of Cups. You know, there's lots of cards that are happy. Whereas the present position, let's say, is the Three of Swords and it's sad. So the Eight of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Tower reverse, the Devil. So in the past you were happy and now you're not. And the thing about that is we now know what to look for in the future. So when we turn the card for the future, we're going to know that we want to see if there's going to be an improvement in the situation. Are you going to go and continue to be unhappy? Or is there going to be an improvement and a change? And the card itself will indicate what kind of change it's going to be. Right, so that may not seem to be saying that much, but if it gives the questioner a realistic picture of where they've been, where they are, and where they're going, a simple roadmap like that can give them confidence and give them a sense of ease that things are going to be okay. And it doesn't have to be that, yes, tomorrow you're going to meet somebody and marry and have 5 children and be rich and famous and so on. It doesn't have to be information like that, but just to know that there's going to be an improvement. And because you were right about the past and the present, you can have confidence that the card for the future is going to work out as well. And that's important for people. Okay, it's probably easiest if we can pick a couple of cards and talk about them instead of talking theoretically. So let's say you get the Two of Cups in the past and the Three of Swords in the present, and then a card for the future. So the Two of Cups in the past, so you tell the person in the past you were happy, you got along well with people, you had good relationships, you enjoyed people's company, they enjoyed your company. There was probably a special individual, a boyfriend, a girlfriend that you had, and you were getting along well with each other and enjoying each other's company. Right? Things like that. You were happy. The card for the present, on the other hand, is the Three of Swords, which is the heart with the 3 swords passing through it. So something's gone wrong with the relationship or with your relationship with people. And you can keep it simple like that and just say, in the past you were happy, now you're not. Let's look at the future. But without really trying to be intuitive or trying to be psychic, you'll find that when you see that Three of Swords, if you just talk, you're going to hit the nail on the head, probably. But even if you don't, you're still going to give the questioner an idea of the type of experience, the type of thing that's going to happen or that's going on at the moment. Right? So you could look at that Three of Swords and think, okay, in the past you were happy and now you're not. What happened? What changed? And what changed is shown by the Three of Swords. So maybe the other person reminds you too much of other people who broke your heart. Right? So the Three of Swords can be reminding you about past experience with other people, not necessarily with this one that you're involved with at the moment. Or maybe it's the other way around, that you remind the other person of people who had broken his or her heart, right? Or else the Three of Swords, because it's swords and it's the heart, maybe something happened between you and you saw a streak of cruelty in the other person, or they did something that was kind of violent or angry, and you didn't know that about the other individual, so you're sort of stepping back a bit because it was like a red flag, a bit of a warning to you that maybe this person isn't as loving and giving as they seem. Maybe they've actually got they're vindictive, or they've got a cruel streak. Or else it could be with the Three of Swords that maybe you got, one or other of you got bad news and you didn't like the reaction of the other person. Because we get bad news all the time, but it doesn't mean we have to turn nasty, right? And maybe the other person got some bad news and didn't handle it well, and sort of got angry with you, the questioner, and expected you to solve the problem or something like that, right? Whereas, so you didn't like the reaction the person had to receiving bad news, and you think, okay, if that's how they reacted, that, what are they going to do with something to do with me, or something that's really bad or really important? So you'll find that when you just talk based on the card itself, you'll find that you actually give examples of what happened, even if you don't know about it, or the person doesn't confirm it. You're still going to be quite correct in the kinds of examples that you give, right? So we turn the third card. So at this point, we know the person was happy in a relationship, getting along with people. Now something's gone wrong and they're not quite as happy as they used to be. So we know what we want to find out, I expect, from the future card. Are they going to be happy? Is the happy past going to come back? Are they going to go off and is it going to get worse before it gets better? So let's say you've got the King of Cups in the future. The King of Cups is the same suit as the Two of Cups. So maybe the person says, am I going to get back together with Bill or whoever? And with the King of Cups in the future, you can say yes, right, because the suit is the same. You've got a connection between the future and the past. Or it could be that the King of Cups, or the Court card in the future, represents you, the questioner. And that's how, so how should I handle this in the future, the person says. And you say, okay, be like the King of Cups. You have to take charge. Kings run things, so you have to take charge. But you also have to be compassionate and loving because it's the Suit of Cups. If it had been the King of Swords, take control and be decisive. Use that sword. And if something is bad, cut it out, get rid of it. Right? Whereas, so depending on the card itself, you can get an idea of the kind of behaviour that's going to be appropriate in the future. Okay, I've run out of things to say, so I'll stop. So take a look at the PDF download at thetarotblog.com. If you want, you can sign up for the newsletter. It'll be on the About page. But there are links on that other page for various other sites that you might enjoy. So that's it. If you have comments or questions, leave them below. If you want to subscribe, click the subscribe button. And if you want to talk to me, send me an email, bllntr@yahoo.com. So that's it. Until the next time. Thanks for watching.